Hey guys, and welcome back to the Social Saint podcast. I'm really excited to be back today. I'm excited to be recording another episode. I've got a very, very good episode, a particular episode I've been excited to do for a long, long time. I think it was just like waiting for the right moment, but I'm really, really excited to have on a good friend of mine, Jamal, on the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
So me and Jamal have been friends for 4 years now. 2017, isn't it?
Yeah, probably 2017.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah, we've been friends for 4 years now. We've done a lot. We've been on a missionary trip together. Yeah. We've been baptized together. We've had a lot of good memories together. We're really good friends. But Jamal's testimony is something that, like, honestly, I always share it with people. Yeah. I probably tell people Jamal's life story. But your testimony is something that I think is absolutely incredible, and it's something I've really, really seen God just continuously move in and through your life. Yeah. And obviously, it's amazing when God does stuff in your personal life, but it's always just a beautiful thing to see when God does stuff in like other people's life, and to bear witness to that is really like an honor. Mm-hmm. So I just felt like it was really, really exciting to just be able to share this podcast of, with everyone today on the episode. But yeah, just quickly, I think you've been on the podcast before. Yeah. But just a quick introduction. Who are you? What do you do? Yeah.
Before you start, has anyone else had a come back again like twice?
Yeah. People some of us even come back 3 times.
So. I thought it was the
first person.
My name is Jamal. I'm 25. Probably just the best way to identify myself is just a Christian entrepreneur.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's probably the best way. Yeah, really. Nigerian as well. If that.
Big up.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Is that it?
I think so. You'll get to know me over the course of the podcast anyway. So.
Yeah, so Jamal, like you said, he's a Christian. That's obviously the main thing. And obviously, I always like to have a mixture of Christians and non-Christians on my podcast, but this particular guest is a Christian. And I just kind of wanted to get in, like, I think we often share people's testimonies, but like for you, how did you kind of like come to Christ? How did you come to the knowledge of Christ? Did you grow up with like an understanding of God, or like just like kind of quickly summarize your testimony?
I think for myself, I think it's just like the standard African background where you go to church and you just like basically drive to church. It wasn't really something that I really enjoyed. I think it got to a point where I was like, okay, cool, I'm 18 now, I'm off to university, and I was like, okay, cool, this is my moment to be free. I didn't have to be, I didn't have to go to church and stuff like that. But God had other plans, and it took me into my second year where I was whilst I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, someone invited us to like a Christian event. I'm not too sure if it was a Bible study or it was a concert, but all I do remember, eventually we just ended up going to their Bible study, and I just remember just seeing a lot of young people on fire for Christ. And obviously this is when I'm up north in university. This is in like the Bolton area. I just see a lot of people just on fire for Christ. I was like, yeah, this is lit. Like usually when I think of Christianity, I just thought of like older age people and stuff like that. But it was like a lot of young people and they're on fire. And I was like, cool. And over time, I was just listening to the preaching, and God really convicted me about just my lifestyle, the way I was living. It took a lot of I had to look deep in myself and just understand that truly I need Jesus. So I think that's my testimony, and ever since then I've just been living for Jesus. Obviously had bumps, never been perfect, had ups and downs, but ultimately I just clinged on to Jesus really.
Wow, praise God. I've heard your testimony obviously a couple of times before. I think my favorite part is when you're in Amsterdam.
Yeah. Amsterdam one.
That's my favorite
that
part.
One?
Yeah, different.
That was a serious time.
Yeah, but obviously God chased after you, and he had a plan for your life, and I think it's pretty evident that he's still working in and through your life, which is obviously incredible to see. So the real thing I want to get into today, guys, this is one of my biggest flexes that I'm friends with you. I feel like it's just day out day I'm gonna flex on this one. But we really want to get into Crep Collection Club. What is Crep Collection Club? How did it start? How did you get there? What made you start it? What is it, just for everyone watching? What's going on?
What is Crep Collection? I think that's a good question. I really thought. I think so. Whilst I was working my corporate job,
in fact, before you even go into that, actually, let's rewind back.
Oh shit!
I want to go through your job actual history.
Oh, is it?
Because I think it's interesting, because when I met you, you was working in Sainsburys.
Yeah, you saw me in Sainsburys.
Yeah. And even then, like, it's crazy how, like, you meet people and you just see that, like, they've got so much potential or whatever. But, like, you were working in Sainsburys, yeah. Obviously, guys, I'm not gassing him up here. This is literally just for the podcast. I'll never gas you on the podcast like this.
It's the first time hearing this.
Yeah. But, like, you were working in Sainsburys. And I remember meeting you at the time. You were trading forex, weren't you? Yeah. So talk about how, like, literally your progression from career wise. Like, how did you get from Sainsburys to where you're at?
Wow, we're going also. I actually forgot about these moments. So yeah, obviously I finished university. I studied journalism, and I was like, okay, I finished in 2017. So obviously when I finished, now I'm looking for a job. I was working in Sainsbury's for the time being. I was thinking I'm going to be in Sainsbury's for like a couple of months. That couple of months ended up being like, I think around 10 months. It was a long time in it. Like this is after I finished university. Then ultimately, I actually ended up working for, all these times I was always looking for a marketing role, like marketing from my final year university. I was thinking, yeah, I need to do marketing, whatever. So I ended up finding one job in Sutton. Like it was a marketing role, marketing assistant role, whatever. Then what happened was, it was so low pay. I remember it was like 16k a year or something like that. Yeah, I was like, do you know what? I didn't care. Do you know what I mean?
It's a step towards.
Yeah, it was just a step. Yeah, I was like, yeah, 16k.
That's criminal, though.
I was violent.
Criminal.
Yeah, it was bad.
Isn't that below London living wage?
I'm sure. I don't know. I've never heard of anyone on that wage since I've left. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I think I was probably at that time around 21, 22. No, yeah, I just got it at 21, but I was turning 22. So yeah, I was working there for like, 16k a year, blah blah blah. I ended up being there for like 3 months. No one really knows the story, but I actually got laid off that job. I actually got laid off the job.
Is that what you were so quiet about? I went crying. Listen, guys, the way Jamal was working there. There's something he wasn't working there, and he didn't tell a single soul. I remember when they were asking you how's work, he's like, yeah, I don't work there. And I just never asked any more questions. But I was actually always wondering what happened.
I got laid off. So yeah, basically what happened, right?
Finish me.
This is exclusive, but I remember
a social say exclusive.
I remember I was just working there. So the person that actually hired me. Yeah. So obviously someone hired me. They said, "Oh, you're the right person for the job." Blah blah. So I still had to go back to Sainsbury's to do because you have to give like a full week. Whatever. So when I actually then started my role at the marketing job in Sutton, what actually happened was the person that actually hired me, that marketing manager, she actually left and went for a new role. So I was then left with the I think the sales manager. She was the one that was managing me, and she's in sales. And if you guys know that marketing and sales, like obviously they're similar but not the same. You know what I mean? So the sales manager was basically giving me tasks and stuff like that, but it got to a point where she just didn't know what to do. Like it was got to a point like, you know what I mean? Like there's no other work to do. So I was like, I'm just wasting time here. So what I would do, I'll literally just use that time, there'll be times that I have like a Bible study in that evening, or sometimes I'll just be scrolling on social media, on Twitter and stuff like that. Like I didn't have anything to do. So what happened was I think one Monday, I think I came in and they said, we had to reset the system of like the computers and stuff like that. Blah, blah. I don't know what spiel they gave me, but they just said that anyway. Then after they said, but we checked your history, and after you're doing a lot of non-work activity, and I was thinking, yeah. So she was like, yeah, you've been doing a lot of non-work activity and stuff like that. So I was like, so yeah, unfortunately, we just have to let you go. I was thinking, because that was the first time I ever got let go of a job, innit? So I was thinking, okay, cool. I had to finish my shift that day. So I went back to my table, and I just basically was going to do the work that I had for that day. And she said, no, so you have to go now. I was thinking, oh, and I just got my stuff out. And I think, so that time, and I just remember, like, hey, that man it was horrible.
That's so embarrassing. Oh my
It was
days.
bad. It was actually bad.
That is so embarrassing.
But the thing is, I remember like it was such a, I don't know why, but when I remember just being like, I took all my stuff over, and I remember I was just in Sutton High Street. Obviously, that's where I usually have my lunch and that. I just remember I was like, oh, thank God, I'm just gonna be an entrepreneur now. Like I remember that moment, I was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. And that was when I was gonna then do my I was gonna set up a social media agency. I think I don't know if you remember that. I remember I was gonna set up a social media agency. I was doing that I was hustling away, hustling. But then nothing actually came out of it. So it just got to a point where I was like, okay, I need to go look for jobs. So I think 6 months I was like just looking for jobs. It even actually got to a point where I was actually signing on, because I think when I was thinking, I need to actually make money, so let me just sign on as well. So I even ended up just literally just had to go into like job center and asking them for like I basically had to check if I'm applying for jobs and stuff like that. I used to hate that, so I was doing that.
Bommy,
I hate that. So but then it got to a point where obviously, just to give you guys the time scale, so we were talking about I got the job in 2017 June. Then I got sacked in like July, August, around that time. That's July 17. Then from July 17 to July to the end of that year, I was literally just trying to hustle my business, like the business that wasn't actually making any money or anything. And also I was then end up just looking for jobs and stuff like that. So then it came to 2018. I think am I talking about 2018?
Yeah.
Is it right, or 2019?
2019.
Oh.
Wait, when you started your other job, it would have been 2019. Oh
shoot, yeah, sorry, skip that. A year later, sorry. Yeah. Basically 2019, sorry.
Yeah.
It got to from 2019 summer. That's when I got let go. Let's go back to that. So 2019 summer, I got let go of the marketing job. So from 2019 to 2020, I think we got it wrong. You know, it's the first one.
It was 2018. You got let go of that job.
Yeah.
Then. Because I remember you were working on your social media stuff.
Yeah, that's 2018.
That was the end of 2018. And then 2019, you got a new job.
Yeah, so okay, this, for those that are listening, you guys are confused, though, I'll bring it back. So 2018, summer, August, I got let go. I have no job, yeah? Let's just go back to that, So 2018, summer, I have no job. And the next 6 months, I'm literally hustling until 20...
So wait, when we went to Trinidad, you didn't have a job?
I didn't have a job. I was literally and I was so stressed out. Like I was so stressed out.
Like, Jamal, you're coming on this trip.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I didn't actually have money. I had money, but I was savings, and I was like, I'm not using my savings. So I didn't really have much. So I was like, I think I ended up.
That's probably why that trip slapped the way that it slapped.
Probably, yeah, because when you're broke and you have a luxury like that.
Yeah, you're just doing Christian things.
Yeah, for sure.
God just moves.
God is moving. Yeah. So. Man, I think we got the timeline wrong.
No, I think you're right now.
So 2008. Okay, cool. So I got the job in 2019. So
19,
okay, so now, so as you guys said, as I said before, like from 2018 to the end of the year, I'm broke, whatever. 2019 comes now, new year, fresh year. I ended up applying for a marketing job. It was literally, I think this one was even worse salary. Like this one was a temporary role, and it was in central London, wherever, but it was a temporary role. I think it was about, I don't want to be dramatic, but I think it was probably about £40 a day or something like that. I can't remember. Wait, how much is it?
I don't know how that. I'm
talking about it's an 8-hour shift. Like I'm not like no half day. I'm talking about 8. I remember it was so stupidly low. I think I'm gonna say £50 a day. Oh, I can't remember. Like, I'll probably say it wasn't much.
Quite low.
Yeah, it wasn't quite much in it. Yeah, £40 or £50.
Why was you getting paid daily? Because it was temporary.
Yeah, it was a temporary role. Yeah, it was a temporary role. So I remember I was like, okay, cool. I did that. This needs to get experience, whatever. Like I literally, it was supposed to be there for like 2 to 3 months or whatever. Then they said to me, we have a marketing executive role in that same company. I was like, might as well just apply for that then. So I applied for the marketing executive role. I ended up getting the marketing executive role. And obviously my pay went up. I had to slap that. Hey, I had to take it to the office. Like, do you know what I mean? Pat me, please, man. Yeah. So they sorted out my pay, which is all right. But what I was even more fortunate about that role was I was actually able to travel. So that role, obviously, one thing like allowed me to go to like New York, which was such a great experience for myself. Where, I've never actually worked abroad. Do you know what I mean? So even if it was a short period of time, I was able to work there. So this is 2020. This is 2019. I got that role. but I ended up leaving that role in 2020, like literally approximately like a year after like 2020, just before the pandemic hit, because I was like, okay, we were in LA with my pastor and Ashley, a friend of mine. And we were just talking about entrepreneurship, and I was just so inspired that I was thinking, rah, like when I come back here, blah blah blah, I want to do this, that. Then that's when when I got back, I handed in my notice. And I said I want to just be a full-time entrepreneur, but there's some parts I missed out, which was obviously Crep Collection Club that came in just in the middle of when I was in my marketing executive role.
Yeah.
So in the middle, I just did that. So I don't know if you want to expand on that later, or do you want to expand on that?
Yeah. So basically, just for Crep Collection Club is Jamal's like the CEO, the owner, the founder.
I hate them words.
Yeah.
I just run it.
He runs this business called Crep Collection Club, very successfully. And basically that kind of started off. It was like an overlap, wasn't it? Basically, so you started getting the trainers and reselling them before you'd actually handed in your notice, and then you handed in your notice in the January, right? Yeah.
So when I probably started the business at 6 months before I handed in my 6 probably.
Because it was the August you went, wasn't it? Was it the August?
To where? I went on my birthday. Remember I missed the birthday.
Yeah.
So it was September.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've got August in my head.
Yeah, no, it was September.
But when did you go to the Prescott? Was it in the January?
Oh, so when I went to that was in January.
Yeah, that was in the January.
Yeah. So I started the business probably around. I'll say actually June 2019. That's when I started the business.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And then so you handed in your notice now. What made you so it was going on that trip that made you, that was a change about that. And also my manager as well, like she just used to make like, I just didn't really enjoy working with her, like I genuinely used to dread going to work. Oh no.
And I was thinking, this can't, maybe it just definitely put me off 9 to 5. I'm not saying 9 to 5 is bad or whatever, but I'm just saying from my experience that I had, it kind of like it left a mark. I was like, this is so long, like it used to be just hell. Like I just remember like everything just like, you know, when like a manager, like nothing's right. I mean, everything's like you're always trying to work to please her. I'm thinking, no, this ain't me, you know. So what happened? I was just like, I'm just gonna leave, you know. And I think she probably wanted me to leave as well eventually. But we just didn't really see eye to eye, respectfully. But she's cool anyway. But I just didn't think professionally we worked quite well. So
then you've left now. And what happened from there with Crep?
From there, so obviously I had Crep Collection Club, which was alright. It was doing alright. I think when I left, it had like 1,000. So Depop's basically like the main platform that I use, but it had like probably like 1,000 to 2,000 followers at the time. So it was alright at the time. It was doing what I needed to do. I was making a few sales as well, which was cool. But ultimately, I actually left because I was going to do property. So property was the main thing. So that was with my friend CJ. We said, okay, cool, we're going to do property. But we said that was the reason why I actually left. I was confident. I was like, property, and I at least have the trainers on the side. And obviously, you know, the following the pandemic, lockdown, innit?
Yeah.
So that went all over the place. So I ended up just stuck with trainers, and so I ended up just being full time with Crep Collection Club. Literally just that time I was literally just focusing on Crep Collection Club. I'm not too sure how much you want me to expand on now, or do you want me to say now? Okay, cool. So obviously with Crep Collection Club, for those who don't know, I sell trainers, but I also design trainers as well. So it's 50% selling trainers.
I was gonna say, what is the breakup of it? Is it
I'll say it's 50-50. Strong. I think it's a strong 50-50 actually. So so I do both. But what happened, right? Because I ended up playing around with shoes, and because I never always used to customize, I never designed shoes or whatever. So I think it was in March or whatever. I was like, let me just, you know what I mean? It's pandemic, like everyone's in lockdown.
Can I just say something though? Yeah, when you started customizing them, what did I send you? I sent you a picture of customized Crocs. Yeah. Did
you?
And you were laughing at me at the time.
Probably did, you know.
Yeah, I can go back into our Instagram chat. It's there, and now
Crocs are popping. I even saw Conan rocking like the full tracksuit.
I sent you the customized Crocs.
They're cold,
so far before.
No,
like when you first started painting your trainers, I was like, this is what you should. I will find it and screenshot it. It's in our Instagram chat.
Yeah, you're a visionary because now it's popping.
It's
popping really.
Literally, but continually, you started customizing.
Yeah, so like I think late March actually. Late March. Obviously, when we our first lockdown, I was like, oh, might as well just pick up a new skill. Like a lot of people with that picking up new skills and stuff like that. So let me just start designing, and I started designing shoes. And I think I put it up on my socials, and people was like people were supporting it, thinking, oh, this is nice, blah blah blah. I was like, cool. And I think what hit was actually when people started buying it. I was like, oh, people. I was literally just playing around with it, and people started buying it, and I was thinking, oh, okay, cool, this could be something. And I just kept on watching a lot of YouTube videos and just kept on designing like different sorts of designs, like trying to be, just designs that people don't see, like on the standard shoes and stuff like that. And yeah, I literally just started running with it, man. And yeah, I think God really moved in that area in terms of like my using my hands. I mean, like I think I speaks in like Exodus when it talks about like gifted artisans and like how God was able to actually give these guys wisdom in order how to create like artwork and workmanship. And I think that's probably my experience where God's like used my hands to bless me in order to make income, but also like I think ultimately at the end of it is to bless others, which I obviously I will expand on probably a little bit later on.
So you started customizing them. So what was going on with Depop at that time? So like you said, when you left your job, you was probably at about like 1,000 followers.
So obviously I was like I'm guessing like 2,000 to 3,000. Like it wasn't really that high. But what happened? Obviously now that I'm full time, I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna put full time effort into Depop. So what I did, I used to get a lot of shoes. I did a lot more designs, and it started to grow. And after it grew from like I don't know 2,000, 3,000. I'm sure it started going up to like 5, 10, whatever, of course. And then I ended up getting verified. I think that was probably the game changer. Shortly after actually, so imagine like shortly after I left my job, Depop actually ended up contacting me and saying like, oh, we want to take your page seriously, we want to verify your page, and we want to like have like you're gonna have like people that are gonna support you, like you can have a manager and stuff like that. I was thinking, okay, cool, that'd be very helpful. So yeah, they ended up doing that, and yeah, it then started to grow. To like thousands and thousands and thousands, like probably every week. I think the sales was also increasing as well, which was good.
There was a time you put something on Twitter as well. What point was that? You know, that time you did that thing on Twitter and it just got bare retweets and stuff.
I was
But what one? I can't remember what stage this was.
What was the post?
I think it was. I can't remember what it was.
Oh.
I think you literally just posted like going full time with I can't remember what it was. I think he posted something like that and it just got mad retweets. I can't remember. Yeah, I just remember there was that stage. I think
you mean on Twitter?
Yeah, on Twitter.
Oh yeah. No, I remember. Yeah. That was So what happened? I think there was a Saturday morning where everyone was like bummed out because like they took a loss on a raffle. I remember like everyone was so bummed out. Like it was like a particular Jordan 1 that came out. It was the Jordan 1 Royal Toes. It's like a blue shoe, whatever. And everyone was so bummed out that they didn't make it. And I was like, oh, cool. Let me just use this opportunity. So I just plugged my social media, my work. Yeah, and I think it got over like 1,000 people were just promoting, and people just really showing a lot of support, which was really good, especially during like a pandemic and that. And I think that was really helpful.
Yeah. And so now you're customizing shoes. You kind of gone, things are kind of steady growth. What kind of happened next? Like,
what happened next with socials?
Or just in general.
It's in general. I think what happened next in timeline wise, started to like meet like new suppliers. I think that was quite helpful. I was quite more bored because there was like it got to a point where I was like, I can't get like these shoes I really wanted to get, like exclusive shoes, or do you know what I mean? So what happened? I then started finding like different suppliers, meeting different people, building connections, relationships. Then I ended up, that helped a lot with like profile and I guess credibility as well, especially when you have like you post on your social media like 10 or 10 pairs or 20 pairs of very exclusive shoes that no one has their hands on. So I ended up just building a relationship as well. Depop was growing as well massively. I think it got to a point where it actually the growth was actually going crazy because I was saying before, it's like I was getting like 1,000 followers each day, each week, whatever. Ended up going from like 10 to like 20. Like I think every month it was like 10k for like 2 months or whatever. So it was growing like expeditiously as well. I think that in that time, I don't know what else. There's quite a few landmarks, but
you got. I remember at one point you turned a room into a storage room in your house. And you had bear.
Yeah. That was actually really early stage. So at the early stages, obviously So I had it in my house, like a lot of the shoes in my house, it could fit in my house.
Yeah.
Then obviously I was able to then get a whole entire unit where I just now have it there instead. So yeah, at the time I was had it in my house, then I was able to find a new place where we can just put all the stock outside of my house. Which was good. Yeah, I think there was a few landmarks as well. I think probably when Depop, I think one was good was when Depop they featured the company in the black, come on, they were promoting a lot of black business, yeah. But what they did, this one was quite special because they actually pinged it to everyone's phone about this particular my shop.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and if you guys bear in mind, like Depop has about 30 million users.
Wow.
Yeah, so 30 million users worldwide, I think it's about 30 million. But obviously in the UK, probably say 18, maybe 20. I'm not too sure. I wouldn't know the numbers. But obviously, if you just go on your phone, you just see collection cover. And a lot, that was quite bigger. So I think that was quite helpful as well. I can't tell you how many like little landmarks there are. Yeah, it's quite a few.
That's crazy. Crazy. So what kind of happened next? So now you've grown. You know, where was you at in terms of like the will of God? Because you felt like, okay, cool, God's told me to leave this job or whatever. Like, well, not God's told me. I felt like it was time to leave this job. I'm pretty sure that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I felt like for you were sure you wanted to be an entrepreneur. Where did you feel like you were in terms of God's will? Did you feel like God had a plan? Was it still a bit like uncertain?
Yeah. I feel like it was a point where like I definitely feel like God had a plan, and I think it was more clear that God wanted to use the business financially to bless others. And I feel like that's where the growth came in for myself. I was thinking, like, this is the money that I was making. I was like, and also just bear in mind as well, like the money I was making was a lot more than my corporate job. So once I went full time, like I think at the time, I think straight afterwards, it was like triple at the time, innit?
So whatever you were making in your corporate job, you were making triple that.
Triple that, wow. That at the time. But then I started and realized this thing called tax. And I was like, oh, you have to pay tax. Yeah. And but that was literally later on though. Yeah. God was definitely moving in terms of like financially. And I felt like that was more that wasn't for myself. Like, I didn't think it was more like for me to just, I feel it was for me to bless others. Was to bless the church as well. Any shape or form I can. So yeah, I think in terms of the will of God, I feel like God was just using me as like a vessel to just bless people around me ultimately. But in terms of like what, I didn't think it was anything deep at the time. At that time, it wasn't like, it was just more like I'm just working. But I think later on, then God started to reveal it a lot more.
So when would it have been? It would have been June, or was it in May?
When
Pastor Yomi came.
Oh, Pastor Yomi came. He just came recently.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he came in.
So that's when you got the word, isn't it?
Yeah.
So is there anything that happened in between that and?
Oh yeah, 100%. That's when everything happened.
Yeah, go tell that.
Okay, so so Pastor Yomi, he's a pastor.
No, I meant before that.
Before that,
in that gap between hitting 30k, your salary's tripled. Was there anything else that we didn't touch on? I think that was mainly.
Yeah, I think that was mainly
Yeah, and then Pastor Yomi came.
Yeah, Pastor Yomi.
And then go from there.
Yeah.
So we in our church we have visiting pastors. I don't know if I've explained this, but yeah, we have visiting pastors that just come. They talk. They preach. They often like give out like prophetic words. So they might pull an individual or a couple, or it might be to the church in general, and they might just give like a prophetic word over that person's life, or a word of knowledge. I think, is it word of knowledge? Yeah. Sometimes they do word of knowledge, which means just like, it's just wisdom basically. So Pastor Yomi is a pastor of another church in like one of our churches in London, and he came and visited for the weekend, and at the end of the sermon, he actually gave out some prophetic words, and I was given one as well. But you were also given one. What did that word pertain to? Yeah,
I think so that one. I think that was definitely a game changer in the sense of what God wanted to do in my life. Yeah. Because that's when Pastor Yomi, he came. He's from the Shepherd's Bush Church, and he randomly, these times I had my mask on as well. So I don't think I've ever had a conversation with this man before. Yes, I've never had a conversation with this man. He doesn't know me. I don't. We don't know. We don't have a relationship. And I remember at the end of the sermon, he said, God has given you a gift of entrepreneurship. And for me, that was such a, because I was obviously next the girl I'm dating, and because we've been having that discussion in terms of like what God wants me to do next and stuff like that. And yeah, he said, God's given you the gift of entrepreneurship. And like, that was when, like, on my heart, I don't know why, like, I had such a desire just to open a shop. I think, why don't I want to open, like, do you know what I mean? I've always thought, like, you know, brick and mortar is dead anyway, like, who the heck is, do you know what I mean? But I think there was such a burning desire to open a shop. But then after he then said that, and I was thinking, oh, maybe, do you know what I mean? Because with a shop, like, again, like, it's big, like, now it comes into reality, like, it's real, do you know what I mean? It's not just online, it's not just digital. You're going to be meeting with people. These are times where you can, do you know what I mean? And I feel like that's what maybe God was trying to communicate, in a sense where, like, this is real now, do you know what I mean? There's things that I want you to do in order to, like, I guess, win souls, I believe, as well. So yeah, that was probably what happened. So then obviously from there, I ended up looking for places. I ended up looking for units to hire. Shop units to hire. Looking everywhere. I can't tell you where I didn't look. I probably looked north, south, west, east. No, I didn't. No, not east, actually. I don't think east. West. Yeah, literally just the whole of London. I was just literally.
Was you convinced it had to be in London?
Yeah, no, it had to be in London. Like, I live in London, so it had to be in London. Literally the whole of London. I was probably just looking. I was just looking to find units, and I remember, like, all of the places I was looking for, like, that were in my budget. They were all like, they weren't something that I want to put a shop there. It's either like the location was just like, no one's gonna find this place, or I just didn't like the quality of the unit. So it got to a point where I was like, okay, cool, God, I need you to move now. So what happened, right? It was like, I then felt like, okay, what I'm gonna do now. I changed my strategy. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look for units that are way outside of my budget. And I just believe God for it. No, genuinely, that's just what was happening. There was units. I was calling up units that were probably worth like $250,000, and saying, like, do you have viewings? Like, I couldn't afford that. I can't afford that still. But it's like, I was literally just going, like, places like, let me just try my luck. Do you know what I mean? And I was literally just had, like, just believing in God, like, God, you can move in it. Cause if God owns everything, do you know what I mean? Like, if you own it, you own it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, why not? Do you know what I mean? So it was just literally just being, it was audacious faith. Then what happened? I ended up looking at Blue Water. And if you guys don't, I'm sure some of you might know what Blue Water is, but it's like a quite popular shopping centre, but it's just outside of London. So what happened was I ended up asking for a viewing. Can I just come for a viewing again? Who the heck? A small business asked us to view Blue Water, and this I already knew from my prior research, like, units are like $500,000 to rent a year, $250,000 to $500,000 a year to rent, and that's probably not even including business rates. So that's probably another. Do you know what I mean? So it's ridiculous. So what happened was I ended up just going for a viewing, and a lady called Abby, she was like, oh yeah, she just kept showing me places, and she ended up showing me one unit that I really liked. Then I think she said that you can do a pop-up. I was like, okay, pop-up. And I was like, yeah, that's no problem. I'll do a pop-up then. And I think a pop-up's only like 2 months. It's very short. Do you know what I mean? So it's not really long. But I was like, oh yeah, I can do it. Do you know what I mean? And we made an agreement of, she said 20% your revenue. So anything that you sell, 20%. There's not your profit, your revenue. And I was thinking, it's a bit much though. But okay, cool. Might as well just do it. So what happened was I ended up saying, okay, cool. Let's just do it. 2 months, so 8 weeks. 8 weeks, and 20% my revenue. But I was like, okay, cool, let me actually hustle this down. So I hustled it down and said, okay, cool, can we actually do 15% revenue? Which, if 5% is a massive difference. It is such a difference. So I was like, can we do 5% so we ended up doing 15%. And I was thinking 2 months is kind of short though. Like, I want to make it for Christmas as well, and end of the year. So can we extend it to the end of the year, like 2022? So this is she said, yeah, we can do that for you. So ended up we ended up doing it from, instead of starting from, we were actually originally supposed to start in June, but something happened with her. She said I had to start in August. So it was gonna be from August to like October, and I was like, okay, I want to do it to the end of the year. So she said, yeah, we can do that for you, that's no problem. And if you guys see the unit's a really nice unit as well. I'll show you pictures.
You showed me pictures,
it's a nice unit. So that's what we're gonna be doing from August 14th.
So that's crazy. So, is that when it opens?
Yes.
Oh.
It's supposed to be 7th.
Yeah, I was gonna say what happened.
Yeah, it was to do with the signage.
Okay.
Like it has to be illuminated, so I had to pay more. So it has to be like a premium signage. Okay. So it's just gonna take more time. So it just extended it from the 7th to 14th of August.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, guys. On the 14th of August, 2021. Crep Collection Club will be opening a pop-up shop in Blue Water. Where is it? In
the top.
Is it
upper floor.
Do you know what size?
It's literally opposite Zara.
Oh, I know
opposite
exactly
Zara.
where it is.
Yeah.
I know exactly. Blue Water is my favorite place.
Oh, is
to shop.
it?
Yeah, I'm literally there all the time.
Okay.
So I will be there all the time.
Yeah, no, you have to, man. It's opposite Zara, right next to John Lewis.
This is so exciting. Like, obviously for me, I just think like when you told me that, like, obviously I was so happy. Like, I just was elated to hear that news. But to see the progression, like I said, from Sainsburys to like opening the pop-up shop in Blue Water, like, because that's, for me, that's like where we shop. Like, do you get what I mean? Like, this for me is like Dave doing a concert in Stroke.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Like, this is like you've done all that you've done, and you've brought it obviously to local. I think right now the trainer market is just like crazy. Like, you know, we already know what people are doing, reselling, all this crazy stuff. People, I saw that they were stamping boxes at Office at one point. Offspring, that was it, yeah. Because so that resellers
that's even another topic you want to talk about.
Literally,
resellers is a hot topic right
now.
It
literally is a hot topic. I was like, that was what I was going to partially talk to you about. But like, it's actually crazy because it's just like the progression. Like, God has had his hand on you the whole time. And I think obviously as your friend watching you, it's always been like, oh, like, I know that you're made for bigger things. Do you know what I mean? Like, I always knew that. Like, obviously, you when you was at Sainsburys, obviously you were trading forex, you were trying to do your hustle, you like, and you've always said the whole 9 to 5 thing was never for you, but it's I feel like for me this could never have happened without God. Like, the way that God has used you and given you ideas, and just the timing of everything, and your willingness and your obedience to God has literally brought you here. And I think there was even points where like it was a bit like, okay, you know, when you told me, because obviously the first time I didn't know that you got laid off your job, so I thought you quit your job to start a business. So the second time round, when you come to tell me, yeah, I've quit my job to start my business, I was thinking, this guy, he's always doing these wild things. But you know, part of me, even though I was thinking, oh, I had so much faith in you. Do you get what I mean? Like, I just really believed in it. And I, obviously, in the early stages, you were sending, when you first started customizing, I remember you sending me, like, when you, like, people were doing the Dior on the trainers and stuff. Like, I remember when you sent me pictures. And when I saw how passionate you was about it, I was just like, okay, like, and I remember there was a day where, I know you're not supposed to talk about it, but I think I fasted. I fasted specifically for you and this business, because I was thinking, like, God, like, he really is passionate about this, you know, like, enlarging it, do you know what I mean, like, just bless it or whatever. And I just remember, like, there was just I saw you go from just like you said, basically hating work every day to being so passionate about something. And it's crazy because we sometimes think as Christians, like, God's not going to be interested in what we're passionate about. Like, he has his will, we just have to do what he wants. But it's crazy because the God we serve is greater than that. Like, he is able to bless anything, and he is able to use any avenue to win souls to Christ. Like, the thing you would think the least likely, like, how is God going to use that? Do you get what I mean? He's able to do that. And I think that, like, God cares about the little things that we care about. Like, do you get what I mean? And it's like, you've always had, like, an interest in fashion, and like, you've always been like, what? Like, it's weird because it's like God had given you the skills before the time. Because even before you had Crep Collection Club, I remember you were quite good with social media. Like, you're always on Twitter a lot. You're always involved in the conversations. You always knew what was going on or whatever. Like, me, you Maddie had our group chat on Twitter. Like, we sending stuff, like, and it was like, you're always quite good. And it's like, you had the skills, you had the entrepreneurship, you had the vision, you had everything before. But it's like, God had timing. Do you get what I mean? And sometimes like we can't see God's vision, but like I really feel like you are the perfect example of how like that could have gone so many different ways. Like it could have been an absolute fail. You could have been back working for someone. It could have been like you lost heart, or it could have just been like something went wrong. And I know multiple things have gone wrong along the way. Like literally, like even with your Depop, what happened at one point? Your Depop.
Gone.
Yeah, it was gone. Whatever. Then you got shadow banned on Instagram. Like so many different things have happened. It's not been smooth sailing, but I feel like God's had his eye over you, and just it's just been like this level of covering almost. And it's like that's what I really wanted to really get into on this podcast, is that when you're doing things without God, yes, it can be great. Yes, you can be successful. Yes, there's like endless possibilities. But when you're doing things with God, it doesn't necessarily make it easier. That doesn't mean to say you're not going to struggle. It doesn't mean it's going to be hard. But there's a certain level of blessing, of covering, of protection, of guidance, of wisdom. It's like navigating Minecraft, like, and you know where the bombs are. Do you get what I mean? It's like God just gives you this foresight, this vision, and it's like I can't encourage you enough. Like, try things with Christ. Do you get what I mean? Like, just try things with Christ. Like, it's a different ball game. Like, it's just a different ball game. And one thing that I always say to people, because whenever people ask, like, why are you still saved? Like, how do you stay saved? Because like with Christ there's endless hope, if that makes sense. It's like any vision you have, any idea you have, it's like it goes from, okay, I'm gonna have to do this out of my own strength, like if I had an idea and I'm not saved, just like, okay, cool, I have to do this out of my own strength, okay, this is what I want to do. But as soon as you're doing something and it's for God and it's with God, it's like you don't have to just rely on your ability to do it. It's like you said, like you could be audacious enough to look at units that you couldn't afford. Why? Because you know you serve God. When you're not saved, that's not an option. Like what are you going to tell yourself? Do you get what I mean? Like you can't be audacious because that gap of faith and reality is not, it's not like, it's not hinged upon Christ. Do you get what I mean? There's just the gap. There's a vast like gap that you can't fill. But like when you have Christ, it's like the possibilities are endless. So it doesn't mean to say everyone's story is going to be Jamal's story, because that's not the situation. Like I can't tell everyone quit your job and do what you want. But like I said, it's like there's just a level of, it's just another level, if that makes sense. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Kind of.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Just obviously to clarify as well, I think I just probably can say a disclaimer. There's actually nothing wrong with working at Sainsburys or any of these type of jobs. Like, I mean, God could use in any single place.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, just for myself personally, it was just more of like, it was not something I enjoyed. You know what I mean? I didn't really enjoy. Like, I just didn't enjoy it. You know what I mean? But definitely, I agree with you in the sense where like, God is, when you have God involved in what you're in your plans, it's like it's almost like having like the greatest business partner. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, I don't see it as, I see it as God, like we're partnering together. Like, God, okay, how are we gonna do this? Do you know what I mean? What do I mean? And what happens as well, like people understand that when you're partnering with God as well, it's like He gives you wisdom. Wisdom, you see things that your competitors can't see. Do you know what I mean? There's markets, I feel like, I just know like there's certain things that like, because God's given me such wisdom in terms of like the industry and stuff like that. Like I just know like there's some areas that I can attack and some areas that just differentiate myself, because like I just feel like God's just with me in that sense. I mean, and of course, obviously, like with like units and stuff like that, finding places, like it's only by faith. I mean, I can't even I can't tell you. I'd be lying if I was on this microphone and said I'm very intellectual, I'm very skillful, I'm very this and very that. Genuinely, I actually just I'm so average. I mean, like I will say I'm so average. I just feel like it's just me just trusting in God and believing God. Like, okay, God, you can just use me. Do you know what I mean? Use me. You know my desires. It's to be an entrepreneur. You know my desires, and
it's not even like you're the craziest, wildest person. Like I've seen people that have business ideas that do mad stuff, put all their savings into it and do crazy stuff. It's not even like you're that mad. Like, you know, it's like you literally just had faith when you needed it. Do you get 100. What I mean? Like. And God made up the rest, you know? Yeah,
basically, that's really it. It's just literally just trusting in God. Like, God, you know, I mean, you know the hearts of people. You know that, like, you know what's lacking. You know, do you know what I mean? And just giving me that wisdom. So yeah, I definitely feel like having God on your side is like basically having the best business partner.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, I think on this journey, like, it's crazy because you get to obviously live in it. For you is one thing, but like obviously witnessing it, it's made me like excited almost for your future, but also for like even the future of other people, like just that I know are trusting God, like in their own businesses. They like, I know people that are like writers or artists or you know, like our friend has a cake business and another one of our friends has a nail business, and it's like seeing what he's done with you, and it's kind of like set an example.
100.
Like even with pastor as well, like our pastor has his own business that's obviously successful as well, literally. And just like seeing what God is doing in your businesses is like, it's setting a standard. And I feel like right now, there's such a there's such a thing about like, especially during the pandemic, there was such like a pressure almost for people to start a business or come up with something. Like I saw it work for so many people. Like so many people had like small businesses that blew up. Some girl had like a brownie business that's just done crazy numbers. And like, you know, I've just seen some people do amazing stuff, which is obviously fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But like one thing I also wanted to like encourage, because I know for me personally, I'm not someone that would say I'm an entrepreneur. I don't really have that kind of spirit. I'm not really like a creative like that has all of these qualities. And I feel like sometimes there's a lot of pressure to feel like, if you do, I think what you said like a minute ago there, like if you do work a 9 to 5, then it's like average or whatever. Like, you know that song? I think I've mentioned this so many times in my podcast. Like, but that song by NSG about working a 9 to 5 ain't an option. Like, and to be honest, in this, it feels like in our generation, 100%. In our society, there's this pressure almost to do your own thing. You can't work for the white man. You can't work. You can't just be like a subject to capitalists. Like there's this whole like agenda that if you just get up in the morning and work a generic job, then that's not good enough. But it is, if that makes sense. And I wanted to encourage people, like it is more than enough. And as long as you're like happy, and ultimately for Christians, you're serving God and you're putting your hardest into it, I do really think that you'll be blessed there. And I don't think it's not for you. It's not for everyone to go and try and do something like this and struggle. You know, like it's not for everyone. Do you get what I mean? And it's not like, if you have an idea, obviously absolutely have the faith to try it out, to do it. Don't ever get to 60, 70 and regret not doing something when you were 30. Do you get what I mean? And I think there is this pressure, because I see a lot of people get to 25 and think, oh yeah, I wish I'd done that. I'm like, 25 is young. Sure. 30 is young. 35 is young. Even 40, even if you started a business at 40, who is it? Like Vera Wang designed her first dress at 40. Crazy. Like, it's insane. Okay, that might have been a lie. I might have exaggerated. No, I think I will put the correct one here.
Then J.K. Rowling, how old was she?
She did, yeah. I can't remember how old she is. Did you see that thing about the Harry Potter book?
What happened to it?
I got, sorry, side note, guys. I got an urgent call from Maddie. I was thinking something is happening. Maddie's my best friend, if anyone watching. But like, I was thinking, oh my gosh, what's going on? This girl's calling me. She was like to me, Rianne, do you have any first edition copies of Harry Potter? I was like, no. Basically,
discontinued it? Or?
No. Basically, they're selling for like 85k.
Why?
That's no.
Have they been discontinued? Like
I don't know. Well, it's just first edition, isn't it? If you have the first edition.
Oh, the first edition.
Yeah, yes. It's like they don't sell first edition anymore. So if you have a first edition.
Goodness, 85k.
So if you have any Harry Potter books.
Don't think so. I wasn't really much about Harry Potter.
Yeah, I wasn't. Me neither. But that's I am going to look just in case.
Yeah, I need to just double check that.
Scour the earth for Harry Potter book.
85k.
85k.
That's crazy.
Me, I'm going to write a best-selling book. But yeah, so basically, it's not like you don't have to feel this massive pressure. And like at the end of the day, there's this massive pressure about just careers in general. Yeah. And like this push that like, I think a lot of people in our generation at least feel like their success is defined by their career. Yeah, 100. Whereas before it was like how it was more holistic or well-rounded, like family, job, like health and stuff like that. I think right now, especially because of the comparison of social media, like career is becoming like a massive push, if that makes sense. And I just wanted to say, like, God, like, especially to encourage Christians, and if you're not a Christian, like, I mean, I don't really ever explicitly really say this on my podcast, but I really like would encourage you guys to give your life to Christ, because there's just a finesse to life that you don't have. Like, I can't describe it until you experience it. Like, God genuinely can do all things, like, through you. Like, if you are willing to be used, and you are obedient, there's nothing that God can't do through you. And I'm saying this as someone that was very like, I was very whenever I'd see things like this before I was saved, I'd always think it's a coincidence or like, you know, whatever, like, okay, cool, like they're just lucky, you know. But when I see it like when you're a Christian, you're surrounded by Christians, you see it time and time again, like God elevates his people. And that doesn't mean that you're never going to struggle. You're going to instantly get saved and you're going to have $1 million in your bank account. Me, I still live with my parents, I have $1 million. But when I tell you, my career progression in the last 2 years is insane. Trust. Like, I've literally been promoted like 6 times in 2 years. Like, it's unheard of. Like, and even me, I like my 9 to 5. Do you know what I mean? I like my job. Do I want to do it forever? Probably not. Sorry if my manager's watching this. I know sometimes she watches the podcast. I will be there forever. But like, God knows, like, I have bigger plans, but at the same time, like, it's just like, I can't describe it. Like, I'd really, really encourage you guys to, like, if you're our age, if you're 25 or whatever, and you're feeling this pressure of life that you have to have this, have to have that, there's just like a peace that comes with salvation. There's just like a assurance, there's a hope, there's a faith, there's a level of wisdom that comes with salvation that you can't, it's priceless. You can't pay for it anywhere. And I think we were just talking about, like, you know, it's easy to want all of these things, and it's easy to want to have Jamal's success story. But like, we were just saying that in Matthew 6:33, it basically says, "But seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all of these things will be added to you." You can't get that end result without Christ. And I know that you're thinking, okay, but there's loads of billionaires out there that don't have, you know, God. But that, all other things are on like shaky ground, as the Bible says. Like, something that's rooted on Christ is eternal. It's not just for the here and now. Do you get what I mean? And like, when you die, you can't take any of your possessions with you, but living your life with the purpose of Christ. Like, it's different, because when you're like doing things out of your own strength and you just come up with an idea, it's only up to you to make that idea come to fruition. But when God gives you an idea, when he gives you a business plan, when he gives you like a business model or whatever, and he gives you also the utensils and the tools to do it, there's just like there's a piece about it that you can't, there's no other way of having it, you know? And I know that you might think, okay, cool, I just want that end result. But as the Bible says, it says, seek first the kingdom and his righteousness. You know, sometimes it's easy to just think, okay, cool, like, I know God, or I know scriptures, but like, to live a life that is righteous is it's a high standard, you know? So, yeah, I
think it's true. Definitely true, I feel like what you were saying as well is that it's beyond that monetary value. Like, it's not just like, oh, God's gonna make me a millionaire. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's so small. Even God making you a millionaire compared to what he actually does, it's so small. I mean, what God gives you is like a peace and joy. Like, even when I was unemployed, or even when I was like going through like, you know, like trials and tribulations and stuff like that, like, it was just that peace that knowing that, okay, he's there. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like for myself, I definitely feel like, if anyone is probably hearing this and they don't know who Jesus is, like, definitely give him a go, man, because he changed my life. 4 years ago, I was in university thinking I was living my best life, and when I gave my life to Jesus Christ, that's when it's transformed, and I'm still here. So it's obviously, it must be something. You know what I mean? It must be very much of a powerful man.
I was thinking of like Philippians like 4, and I feel like with Philippians 4, it's actually a really sick scripture, but because it's always rinsed, I'm always like hesitant to use it, because I've seen this scripture tattooed on people that are not living for Christ. Did you get what I mean? But you know, when you see in Philippians 4, like, Christ can do all things through me, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You see that scripture everywhere. But even before that, I think it's in 12, Philippians 4:12, it says, let me find the right one.
Peace surpassing all understanding.
It's basically, I'm not saying this because I'm in need, for I have learned to be content with whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to be plenty. I've learned the secret of being content in any way and in every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. And I think people often hear the end bit, I can do all things through him who gives me strength, but they don't always hear the bit before. okay, cool, you can become a billionaire and have all of these things, but those people, when they're at their lowest, or if they were to lose all their millions, do you think that they would have that contentment? Because Christ gives you a level of peace that is literally sustainable through all situations. And I think that, like you said, when you were at your lowest spots versus your, like now, or like in other situations, obviously you have good days and bad days that everyone doesn't. You even have that in day-to-day 9-to-5 jobs, let alone being an entrepreneur. There's a level of peace that and hope almost that in any situation, no matter how bad it is, and it can, we take it even away from careers for a second, in all life, whether you're grieving, whether you've just gone through a breakup, whatever it is, like there's a level of hope and peace that only God can give you. And I'm not like even just trying to say this is the cliche thing to say. I'm saying it because it's genuinely true. And obviously seeing all the great success that my friend has had is amazing, and I'm so happy for him. But the point of the testimony in his life isn't that now he is where he is, he's making tons of money, he's got a shop in Blue Water, that's fantastic. It's that all of this would have been impossible without Christ. And even if he didn't have it, he'd still be as content because he has Christ, you know? And so that's kind of just what I wanted to get into today. Like, obviously your story is phenomenal. I'm excited to do the same conversation again in 2 years' time and see where God has taken you.
I believe
in God for even bigger things.
Likewise for you as well. Like, I'm not too sure how much you spoke about your own testimony, but like God's been doing such a work in your life as well. And that's remarkable to see as well. And that's definitely encourage other people. And again, just to echo what we were saying, like this is not like a 9-to-5 versus you know what I mean? Like this is beyond that. You know what I mean, this is what God can just do in your life, straight period. I mean, like he could just do a work in your life, and literally that's all we want to say, innit?
Yeah. And the thing is, guys, like the only other thing I would add is like everyone has a desire that feels like it's a secret, like it's that's the closest thing to their heart, like that's the most precious thing to them, and like you kind of want to hold it close to you because it's like, oh my gosh, this is what I really want from life. And there's maybe you might even have a few desires that you're like, I really really want these X, Y, and Z to happen for me. But when I tell you, like, being vulnerable enough to give those over to God feels scary. Like for me, I remember the day I got saved, like I had to, you have to surrender everything at his feet. There's nothing you can hold back. It's either everything or nothing. But when you give it over to God, it's like instantly what goes from being a potential that could potentially happen goes to like, this is a strong possibility as long as if it's in his will, it will happen. Because God doesn't give us desires. Like he doesn't give us the want for something if it's not because for a reason. If it's not because he wants to fulfill it, or if it's not because it's in order to fulfill some other purpose. But like ultimately all of our desires that are healthy desires are from God. And if you have any desires, maybe if for you it's not a massive amazing e-commerce shop, maybe it's a relationship or a healthy marriage, maybe it's a family, maybe it's to travel, or maybe it's to I don't know, do some kind of creative thing, maybe you love dance, or whatever it is your deepest desire, God can find a way to use that and magnify it. And that's basically what this whole thing is about, is whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is, so long as it's within his will and it's a healthy desire that he's given to you, God can find a way to provide for you through it. He can find a way to bless others through it. Like if it is his will, he can magnify it. But that is the condition, that it's his will, and to know that ultimately you have to give your life to Christ. And I just really want to encourage people. Like I said, I've never really heavily go on about like salvation and getting saved in my podcast, but the reason why I'm going on about it is because I see so much in our culture today, this massive push to just follow your dreams, follow what makes you happy, just do whatever, and there's no like buts, if that makes sense. You see people wildly, like I said, putting their whole savings into stuff or quitting their jobs, and it's amazing to see people have this crazy faith and courage, because courage is not something we see a lot in society these days. But when I tell you, do that but with Christ, and you'll see an elevation that's different.
100%.
You know? And so that's basically it for today. So I'm going to wrap up there. Amazing. Jamal, you've been a fantastic guest.
Thank you very much again.
I've loved having you on. So where can everyone find you?
Where you can find me? You can find me on my personal social media page or Instagram. Is Jamal _VII. So that's, you can just follow me on on Instagram. If you have any questions, which I hope if you guys do, if you don't, it's okay. It's not bad.
It's not deep.
You can just drop me a message. Yeah.
Yeah. What about Crep?
Our Crep Collection Club. So you can find Crep Collection Club on Instagram at CREP Collection and Club.
Is it because you didn't know how to spell collection that you said collection?
Nah, it's just long, innit? Who will know what collection is?
Yeah,
innit? So,
okay. I'm gonna put it on the screen so everyone can see it.
Yeah.
And the 14th of August.
Yeah, 14th of August. So is gonna be 14th of August. Pre-Water Shopping Centre. It's probably starting from 12 o'clock.
We're gonna what time to is there gonna be a ribbon cut?
Huh?
Is there gonna be a ribbon?
No, I don't think it's gonna be a DJ. It's gonna be
Can you
video
cut
before.
ribbon, please?
I actually asked him, I'll ask my landlord. I'll see if I can do the ribbon
Because I
cut.
want you to do a ribbon cut with the big scissors. I'll get the ribbon and the scissors.
I'll see what we can do.
I want to do that and I want to record it and be like,
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. But you're going to be there, though?
Of course I'm going to be there.
August 14th.
Of course.
All right, cool. Nice.
Even if I have plans, I have to cancel them.
Cool.
This is a big moment for my friend. Like, I have to be there.
Sure. Right,
But
cool.
guys, make sure you're there. Make sure you guys are also there.
Yeah.
Bring some money as well so that you can shop. Like you said, there's going to be a DJ there. It's going to be a good time. And it will be open from that point onwards, like you said. So make sure you visit. And find me on Instagram at Rianne Waters. Or you can follow me at the Social Saint Podcast, and I post on there and stuff like that to find out when our next episodes are coming out. But guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace.